Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Banter Saga, our gaming podcast. With me, as always, is Tim.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
And as we like to do, or as we traditionally do, we talk about a little bit about what we're currently playing through, which, Tim, I believe, is the same thing you've been playing through since last time.
I think. I don't know. Was I playing that last time?
Feels like
Probably.
You've been working on it for a while.
I have been working on it for a while, but I don't remember the last time we recorded. Final Fantasy IX, everybody. I just basically need to finish my 12-hour run to get Excalibur 2, and I will have perfect achievement in the game. That's right. I did it. It's awful. It's awful.
And that would make 7, 8, and 9, correct? For your
7, 8,
your
and
perfect
9,
trophies?
yeah. I think I'm going to jump back to 1 after this, but first I have to do Saga Frontier Remastered, because that's out, and I've also kind of started that. I need to play it more, though.
You only played it once since when you...
Yeah, I've only played it
were
one
streaming
time. I started Red Story, and then I've been focusing on Final Fantasy IX so I can get that done and over with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I've got my fingers in quite a few pies this week, but the one I would like to share just recently got updated so that it doesn't crash every time I try to launch the game. It's called the Citadel, and it is a hyper-violent, well, I'd say it's not really 2D because the environments are 3D. It's made in Unreal Engine, and you walk around in it, but all of the enemies are 2D sprites that kind of just walk around as you're shooting at them. Yeah. And my God, everything just explodes into guts and blood. And there's like eviscerated corpse sprites whenever you like shoot things or fire explosives at them. I actually
Always
just recently found out
way to make a game.
it's so funny. It's so violent that it's not even shocking anymore. It's just funny. Like it's just so over the top. I actually just recently found out that the chain gun that's in its secondary fire is a flamethrower.
Okay.
So I was using that, and there are sprites for the enemies to run around while they're burning and screaming, and then they fall over, and while they're still burning, they like curl up into a fetal position and then turn into a pile of ash.
Perfect. Sounds great.
It's amazing, and it feels really good. Like you kind of just move and shoot, but like the speed and the kind of flow to how the levels work, it just feels really good.
Does it feel like Unreal?
Yeah, I think I feel like it's a little bit faster than Unreal.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. It's definitely got that just kind of, you don't jump nearly as much. You stay on the ground pretty much. You can double jump to like explore the levels a little bit, but most of the time you're just like zigzagging through corridors.
Okay.
But it's got, I'll say it feels a little bit faster, and every once in a while you'll get to a level where they throw a wrench into that and you have to be really careful, or else you just get gunned from every direction.
Be careful. Yeah. I always hate when they do shit like that. I don't mind it once I figure out how to deal with it, but like I hate when it just comes out of nowhere and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. You got like, 4 or 5 levels under your belt, just like running around, shoot, dodge, shoot, dodge, and then you get to a level where you do that and just immediately die. It's like, oh, this is a calm, careful level. My apologies. But no. And then all of that's doubly funny because all of the enemies are like big-eyed anime waifu type girls.
Okay.
So you're just well, they don't most. In fact, the vast majority of them don't look like that at first. They just look like armored enemies or whatever. But then you kill them, and bits and pieces fly off, and then underneath the armor, you see it's just some anime chick with like her guts spilling out on the floor. It's hilarious.
Good times.
Highly recommend. I think it's like $15 normally. Super cheap. Great time.
I did buy it. I just have to play it.
I can highly recommend it now because it no longer crashes every time you get to the back half of the game.
which is always nice.
It
It's
is
always a
nice.
nice addition to any game when it doesn't crash.
Yeah, frequent crashing. I mean, I've gotten a couple of crashes, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be.
Okay, that's good.
But for today's main topic, what we would like to discuss is features or things that games have done, or to be perfectly honest, one of mine is something that no game has done. I think I've never seen one, but that you'd like to see in more video games. Maybe you came across something in one game and you're like, that's such a good idea. Why the hell isn't anyone else doing this?
Yeah.
But Tim, we usually have you start. What
Okay.
what have you got to share?
Well, I think my first one, it's a small thing, but I think it's one that should be mentioned because I've never seen it anywhere else. And I actually thought it was a neat mechanic, and it is from Call of Juarez, and you might know what I'm talking about already.
The original?
Gunslinger.
Oh, Gunslinger's such a good game.
Yes. You might know what I'm talking about. It has to do with when you die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So when you die in that game, it gives you like a little rewind and gives you an opportunity to save yourself and continue basically from there. I think that's a really cool addition to first-person shooters, and I would like to see that in more games.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
It's funny too because the whole game is kind of set up under this pretense of it's some old cowboy telling you a story.
Yeah.
So when you die, it's like, oh no, wait, that's not how it happened, and then you like back up a little bit, and you have to like then you fix it. That because not necessarily because rewinding is the whole mechanic in Prince of Persia, but it reminded me of Sands of Time, where if you die and you have to reload, the prince is like, nah, that didn't happen. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a neat mechanic being able to kind of like, rewind instead of having to like reload the game or whatever, or
Yeah.
start from a checkpoint or all that stuff. It's nice to just have that option to not fuck up.
That's
and
another
then
thing.
Continue from where you were. I always thought that was a cool little mechanic, and I think it works. Like, you could put it into other games, obviously, but like I think it's just a neat way to allow you to continue the game without having to go through menus and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't really understand why games, like if I die, why does the entire level have to reload? Like back to whatever checkpoint is there. Like just put me back there. You don't have to reload the entire game just to have me restart.
I mean, I guess that's fair. Like,
I mean,
I'm not one who hates going back to the title screen and having to reload and start over from my last save point. I'm used to that life. I'm all about that life.
Disgusting.
But this particular mechanic is cool, and if implemented correctly, I think would be a little slice of life improvement, or quality of life improvement, whatever you want to call it, to a lot of games. Just that little mechanic where let's give you the opportunity to not fucking kill yourself. Look at that. You did it. And then you get to continue.
Interesting you would choose Gunslinger, because I actually have something from Gunslinger that I'm going to talk about a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
But first, something, man, pretty much all PC games had back in the day that you don't even really see on PC games anymore, which would be the option for your 3 basic types of saves: autosave, manual save, and quick save.
Okay.
I would love to see more games have the option for these 3 types.
Yeah, you definitely don't see quick save as much.
Yeah, ideally, I would, like if I open up the menu and go to my saves page, I would like to have them tabbed out so that all the auto saves are on one page, all the manual saves are on another page, and all the quick saves are on a third page, so that you can just switch between them to pick where you want to go. And I'll tell you what, I was playing a new Portal mod that came out, and it's based on Portal 2, which is in the Source engine, so it has quick saves. And man, I'll tell you what, just being able to like hit a key and just like a little stutter and then you're back to where you were. Please more games do this.
Yeah, I would say quick saves tend to be more of a RPG mechanic than anything else. You see them a lot in RPGs. You don't really get them anywhere else.
I mean, especially, the things like Bethesda's RPGs. They have all three.
They are all about that life.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. But I even think for, well, maybe not for, say like an interactive story type game like a Heavy Rain or the Telltale type games, I could probably see why you might not necessarily want that, because then you could just continually go back and check all your choices to see which one you want.
Yeah,
defeat the purpose a little bit.
Cheese the fuck out of it.
Yeah, but any type of shooter, or hell, even like a platformer game, I'd like to just slap a save down and then just like try the rest of the level.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't mind quick saves, because like, especially if they put it in first-person shooters, because 9 times out of 10 when you're trying to get achievements for a first-person shooter, there's always the one where you gotta beat it on super hardcore awful mode where you die in one hit, and like quick saves would be phenomenal. I mean, you can quick save yourself into oblivion, sure, but like,
yeah,
it would be phenomenal for something like that when there's a shitty part coming up and you can just continually retry it instead of having to restart the entire fucking level. Ugh.
And then that would be a perfect example of why you might revert to a manual save or like a checkpoint save in case you quick saved your ass into oblivion.
Yeah, and that is a thing that happens often, unfortunately. But
yes, I have done it before.
Yeah, it is a nice mechanic when you're not doing that.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely having the 3 types of save is definitely something I would like to see more games do. They won't because of how like games are set up these days, but it would be nice. Yeah,
I mean, you get the auto in the manual pretty much. You never really see the quick save unless you're playing an RPG.
I wonder, have you played any of the newer and like current gen Oddworld games? Did they bring quick saves back?
I don't know. I'm not 100%.
Okay.
I haven't played it since PlayStation, so I don't know.
Oh, the OGs.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not 100% positive. I would assume so. I don't see why they wouldn't. Yeah.
All right. Well, what else you got for us? What other...
All right. So, once again, we're going to talk about something. This is something that you see in a lot of games, but I feel like the implementation could be better. And I'll bring up specific examples. But first off, games that don't have this, fuck you. But the thing that I would like to talk about, being an RPG player specifically, is inventory management.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, yes. That's a big one.
It is a big thing that a lot of games just don't fucking have.
Yeah.
It's like barely there. Like, you can move stuff around, but that's really all you can do. And like, especially big games like your Minecrafts or anything where you're constantly in and out of fucking chests. Like, give me something that allows me to interact with multiple chests, like sort inventory to nearby chests, stuff like that. That's a great mechanic that is underutilized in video games. We need that. Okay. And then Guild Wars 2 is a perfect example of a great button for MMORPGs. It allows you to sort your collectibles out of your inventory, which is 90% of your inventory in all of MMORPGs. But in pretty much every other MMORPG, you have to go through and manually click every fucking collectible into your goddamn bank slots or whatever bags you're trying to put them in, because there's no way to just move the shit. And it's annoying as fuck.
Yeah, that's it's definitely something, again, with like the Bethesda games where they just give you your inventory as a list.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything with it. You just have to go through individually. I think like Skyrim had or I guess Skyrim and Fallout 4 had tabs, I guess. They were like categories,
Uh-huh.
but you still had to go through individually and either sell or put away all the stuff you were carrying.
Yeah, and that's irritating as fuck. Like, there's multiple add-ons you can get for MMOs in particular that will just, you click a button and it sells all your useless shit. Why can't that be a part of the game? Like, you know there's shit that's just there to clutter inventory and get thrown at vendors. So why is there not a button to just sell the shit that's useless? What's up with that? Like, the game knows it's useless. Just press the fucking button. That's all I should have to do. It's so irritating. So that is just inventory management in general. Like, Final Fantasy does it to an extent. Like, it has basics where you can, like, arrange, everything's in list format, but, like, you can arrange it based on, like, you know, healing items first and so forth, or you can actually manually go in and move items, but only one at a time, so you can set it up exactly how you want. It's just really tedious. Like, they try. They at least give it a shot, you know? Ugh. But yes, inventory management is a thing that I would like to see in every single game ever.
All right. Well, the next thing I have is I don't think I've ever seen in a game. A few times, I mean, obviously, like, they'll automatically select this, but I would love the option to be able to choose which controller setup gets displayed in a game.
Oh, yeah, that would actually be really nice. That would be great.
Yeah, I realize, most of the time it doesn't matter. You understand and know which buttons are which on the
Yeah.
thing. But specifically, why I would like to see this is most games don't like it when you switch between controller and, say, like, the mouse.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So, if I'm either just, like, got a controller in my hand, but I want to use the mouse to aim, or if I'm using the Steam controller, I can just tell it, hey, use the controller prompts and stop switching back and forth.
Yeah. That's
And
actually
then,
great. And I think it would benefit literally anyone who's, like, for instance, they're using a PlayStation controller with their Steam account and they're not familiar with Xbox controllers, but all the fucking tutorial stuff is with the Xbox controller. So you're like, what the fuck does X?
yeah. Or because Steam also supports the Switch controller, which,
Hmm.
switches backwards from Xbox. So if they could just display the Switch controllers, that would be good too.
Yeah, that's actually brilliant, and that is a thing that I would love to see. I'm sure that'd probably be a semi-nightmare to program, but
Maybe.
it'd be pretty
But
cool.
at the same time, like, devs are already making pretty much all these versions anyway, so they have all of the things set up.
That is fair. That is, like,
Just
100% fair since everything is multi-platform these days.
Yeah, I mean, I could see maybe like a big budget super AAA game isn't on the Switch. I'm like, okay, I get it, but PlayStation and Xbox, there's no reason not to have both of those things either automatically pick up or selectable.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. I can get into that life.
um,
Oh god.
actually, that's all I had to say about that one. Just give me the option to choose.
Yeah,
Damn it.
I mean, there's not much to say about that one, but that is a great mechanic. So
Yeah.
I can't even fault you on that one. That's a really good mechanic. So I guess I'll
I'm
jump
gonna.
right into my next one then.
Yeah. Okay.
My next one is going to be. Oh, what do I want to go with? I have a pretty large list here, everybody, but we're only going to do some of these. I think my next favorite mechanic that I would like to see in more games, specifically action games, is like Parry Mechanics.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
You know, yeah. Like, I know you're not a Dark Souls player, but, like, a lot of action games, basically you can either block
Mm-hmm.
or you can just attack things face first and never block a hit. And there's not really an option to like knock your enemy off balance or anything like that, to go in for like a counter. Like, that is a thing I feel not only is a great mechanic, but it adds so much to the combat system of any action game, really. And they just don't use it. It's fucking I don't know why, because it's such a good mechanic. Like, I don't know if it's just because they want the game to be more accessible to people, and that's usually a difficult mechanic because you gotta time it correctly. But like, this is a mechanic that adds so much depth. Just that one little thing adds so much depth to your combat system, and I don't know why it's not more widespread than like basically just Dark Souls. There's a few older games that use it that I know of, but like most action games I play just don't have parry or counter mechanics, and it's irritating as fuck.
I think I'm trying to remember. Well, there were counter moves, but they were like really specific.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember in God of War, you could block most things.
Yeah.
But if you parried it, or I say it wasn't really a parry, if you blocked it just right, you could do like a quick get the fuck out of here attack.
Yeah.
And like
Like,
knock everybody back.
anything that adds a little bit more flair to the button mashing that goes on. Like, you know, there's usually specific combos and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
for the most part, people are just mashing buttons, and like, when you add those parry mechanics, it makes people slow down a little bit and think more about what their next action's going to be and how to properly assess the situation versus specific enemies. And on that subject, enemies that have like better attack patterns would be nice too, instead of just the usual, oh, we're gonna have this guy run at you and he has more health, woo, but he doesn't do anything different. That's something we could see in more games too.
Yeah, I hate shooters are really bad for that, because most of the time they just give a armored out enemy a shotgun and he just runs at you. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, thanks guys. That's such a good mechanic. Thank you. I'm so glad you did that. Like, what's the fucking point? Like, he's not any different than anyone else. He just has more health and hits you in the face harder.
Yeah. Oh my god. Did you play The Order 1886?
Yeah, I beat the fuck out of that game. I
Those
loved it. I know what you're talking about.
Those armored shotgun guys are the worst armored shotgun guys I've ever seen in a video game. They literally
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They just spawn in, or the game decides there's one on the map or whatever, and there is no cover from these assholes.
No.
They immediately just beeline it to you and gun your ass.
It's been a minute since I've played that, but I remember specifically having to deal with, I think it was either 2 or 3 of them on board the, I think it was like an airship or a dirigible that ends up crashing.
Yes.
And there was no fucking cover, and I died like 75 times trying to figure out how to handle the situation because it was garbage as fuck.
That
that
one
part.
was bad. Oh,
that almost
Jesus.
made me quit the game. I was like, fuck this.
those fucking guys. I hated those.
Yeah, I thought that game was neat, but like, yeah, it had a lot of flaws. It did.
Yeah,
I'll be real. But yeah, stuff like that is super annoying. And like, how great would it have been if there was an option to counter when they got close or something?
Yeah.
Right?
Even
something.
It would be a little bit dangerous with enemies like that. But you know what? I'm piggybacking off of yours to add something to my list. You know what would be great in more first-person shooters?
What's that?
Left 4 Dead's shove.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be absolutely amazing, and I think it would help against shotgun boys in general, because like, you could rush them and shove them in the face.
And I don't just mean like a melee attack, because a lot of first-person shooters have melee.
Yeah.
Like something that actually staggers or like gives you some breathing room. You know, you punch him in it. It doesn't have to do a ton of damage, or maybe even no damage at all. You know, it's just something you want to, get out of my face, and then you can turn around and, pop a cat.
Yeah. That's actually one of the mechanics that is on my list that I don't know if we're actually going to get to, so I'll throw it in here anyway. Stagger mechanics.
Go and throw it in.
Stagger mechanics, everybody. Why are they not in every first-person shooter?
Yeah.
Why?
Actually, damn it, this is good topic.
Third-person shooter.
any shooter really, because there's absolutely nothing more irritating than first person shooter, third person shooter, some sort of action game, whatever. There's nothing more irritating than focusing all of your attack onto one enemy and then just having them attack you through it.
Right. It's fucking annoying as shit.
It's so irritating.
You know what game did stagger mechanics really well? Resident Evil 2. It did it really fucking good. The remake.
The remake.
Yes. You cap a boy in the fucking knee. Like, you have 3 zombies coming at you. You take it. You cap that boy in the knee. He falls on his ass. You clip the other one in the face. He goes, oh shit. And then you load up on that third guy while the other 2 are fucking messed up. And then you stagger those boys again. Okay. It's great.
Yeah. RE2 was really good
well
for that. Especially, what was that? The like special agent guy. It was one of the bonus modes.
Oh, Hunk?
Yes, Hunk. Yeah. His mode was like, it really, you had to do that. It was like really good teaching you how to do it in that mode.
Yes. Yes. Stagger mechanics are something that are not used enough in shooters in general. You can even throw them into action games more often. Like, that kind of blends into the parry and counter mechanics thing. But like stagger mechanics in general, great idea. And they should just be used at all times.
Yeah. Man, that was a good, like, that's a great topic. That's something that games definitely need to take a look at and be like, oh, I'm just going to have my enemies tank through all of your damage to hit you. Like,
yeah,
no, fuck off.
Yes. I should be able to stagger people in 2021, okay?
Yeah, it should be current a thing. Year. Why can I not stagger more people?
You know, I have this ridiculous idea for a game where it's just hyper realistic and like every bit of damage you take would affect that body part differently. And like, that's a little bit much, but I'll take the stagger mechanics, okay?
Yeah. Well, it's one step at a time, you know? Yes. If we get more games to stagger, then we can start introducing that limb mechanic.
Yeah. It'd be great. Oh god, I don't even remember whose turn it was because we went back and forth so much. I think it was mine, right?
I think that was your idea.
Yeah, that was off the parry and counter mechanics, wasn't it?
Yes, okay. It was.
So back to you.
Okay, so this is actually the one that comes from Call of Juarez Gunslinger.
Okay.
Also Alan Wake, the Citadel, funnily enough, and there's probably another one, but I can't think of it right off the top of my head. And that is more tactile reloading.
Okay.
If you'll remember from Call of Juarez, Gunslinger, if you can hit the reload key, but if you mash it, you'll reload faster.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Alan Wake actually has the same mechanic on a few of the weapons. If you mash reload, he'll do it faster. And the Citadel is actually probably the best example I can think of right now, because Alien Isolation. That was the other one. Alien Isolation. Because you have to reload each shell or bullet into the gun you're using.
Okay.
So, Alien Isolation on the revolver, you hit reload, and she flicks it open and like puts in one cartridge and rotates the cylinder, and then you can put in another one and another one, or just stop there and have 2 loaded for if you need a quick shot or whatever. Yeah. Or you can sit there and keep reloading the entire cylinder. I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Just putting that out there, like any game that allows you to stop mid-reload and just have some bullets available to you. I realize it's not realistic with like guns that use clips and stuff, but like if you're using a revolver specifically, if it allows you to stop mid-reload and start unloading on something or a shotgun, that's a great game.
Yeah. So hey, guess what, Tim? The Citadel does that.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I absolutely love, especially with shotguns, because they always take 25,000 years to reload in every game because you have to do one shell at a time. Like, I should be able to stop reloading if I'm getting my ass beat and start firing the shells I've put into the gun. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes with shotguns you can do it, but for some reason, like, there's still a delay. Like, you can't just pull the trigger on it. You have to, like, wait
Yeah.
for the gun to be ready to fire the thing.
Yeah. Like, that's a good one. I like this idea.
There's actually, the Citadel there's actually 2 reload keys for the Citadel. There's the standard reload,
Okay.
and then there's a quick reload, which will drop the magazine that you're using, but not recover any of the ammo from it,
Okay.
and slap a fresh one in. So you essentially lose that ammo, whatever you had left in the mag.
Okay. It's kind of risk versus reward. I like that.
But if you've either taken care of the threat or you're just not under particularly heavy fire, you can interact with the dropped mag to get the bullets back.
Okay, that's a great idea.
There's actually, maybe we'll talk about the Citadel one time, because there's a lot of really great mechanics in this game.
Yeah,
for just
I'll have to play it.
It's one of those solo devs. I think he's not from, he doesn't speak English. I'm not sure where he's from. He might be Japanese. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And you can kind of tell that in the story. It's not a great translation.
Okay.
There's a few typos too. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things, like, just one guy making this game, and it's got a ton of great ideas.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal idea. I love the idea of just being able to drop a clip for a fresh one and then pick it back up if you win. Like, that's great.
Yeah, it is.
Like
More of that, please.
Yes, that is something I would love to see in every game going forward. That's a wonderful idea. And it's a shame that that's not in more things, because, like, that not only adds to, like, realism,
Yeah.
which everyone's all about, it's just a great fucking idea. It's a nice quality of life thing. It's just good. And there's a little bit of risk there, just a wee bit. Like, if you forget to pick it back up, you're missing some ammo. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, if you're being an attentive player and you take care of the threat, you can go pick up the ammo you dropped. And like, yes, bonus ammo.
Yes.
All right, I believe you were next.
Yes, I will be going next. All right. Oh, God. I just went through, like, my whole list in that last go-through, but give me a second here.
There was a lot of piggybacking.
Yeah, we kind of just went through everything I had to say. I know there's something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, God. Here's one that I haven't talked about yet. Something that I would like to see in more games. I've always been a big fan of the interaction that one can get out of crafting systems in games. Even games you would not expect to have crafting systems. Like, for instance, way back when, there's a game called Star Ocean: The Second Story, which is an RPG. You don't typically see crafting systems in RPGs. Not typically. You might see, like, some weird synthesis things here every once in a while, but, like, for the most part, crafting systems, you don't see them too often in RPGs. You don't see them too often in most games, really. And I think crafting systems are just a really cool addition to most games, and, like, you don't necessarily need to use them in the games that aren't built around them, but it's a nice little extra thing you can do to just, like, min-max your weapons and armor. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think actually a really good example of that would be Resident Evil again. We have a really small pool of games we're talking about this week.
Yeah.
But no, just like now I can't speak to the originals. I've only played the remakes.
Yeah.
But you pick up herbs, which give you a little health boost.
Yep.
Or, like in Resident Evil 7, you can combine herbs with that chem fluid.
Right.
To make a normal, health jug.
Yeah.
Or if you use the good chem fluid, you can get an even better health jug.
Yeah. Just little things like that is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you don't even have to use it. You can find all of those things in the game. You don't need to use the crafting system at all. Unless you're playing maybe, like, Madhouse without the circular saw for some reason.
Yeah, you're like, the toppest difficulty.
Yeah. Then you might need to use the crafting system. For the most part, it's there, but it's not something you necessarily need to interact with. It's just a nice little addition that gets you some extra stuff if you want to use it. And I think that's super cool, and I think more games should do stuff like that. Like, if your game's built around the crafting system, absolutely it should be required. But, like, little crafting systems that exist within the game that aren't necessarily required, but just give you them extra little perks. Love them. And
Yeah.
I would love to see them in more things.
That is a really good suggestion. And I don't even think, I think a lot of the time most people think crafting system and they, go to like some survival game where you're making everything you'll ever pick up. But yeah, even just like the tools that you could throw together in something like Alien Isolation,
Yeah.
where you had a small pool of crap you could find lying around, and then each tool had a different combination and different amounts of things needed to make it. So you only had a few different types of things to pick up. There wasn't like this huge inventory of objects, but you had to use them in different ways depending on what you thought you'd use or could use in any given situation. I think that's probably the smartest way to go about that. Mm-hmm. It's a limited number of items combined in different ways to make different stuff. Which again, Resident Evil does that at all.
Wonderful. That's a great idea. Yeah, Resident Evil, like just being able to make herbs or hand grenades or better ammo, especially better ammo, because better ammo is very limited in the game. You can get by without it, but there is the option to save your shit and make better ammo.
Yeah, it's just a nice little bonus if you are, if you're picking stuff up in the world.
Yeah. So that's something I would love to see in more games. I think these days, I feel like we're seeing it more often than we used to, but I don't think it's necessarily used enough still, because you don't see it in a lot of bigger games to this day.
Yeah, I think it's still pretty genre limited too. Like you're not gonna see a bunch of first person shooters where you can make a buffed ammo, or even a third person shooter where maybe you can make more buffed ammo. I don't know where I was going with that. They're both basically shooters.
Yeah. But yeah, you could do it with an FPS if you really wanted to. You could make, if it was like a sci-fi game or something, you could make it to where you have to, if you were the explorer type, where you could find pieces to make like a better gun. That's really cool.
Yeah, or add. Actually, that would have been a really neat addition to BioShock, where they had those weapon upgrades. Well, what if you had to find the pieces parts to make the weapon upgrade?
Yeah,
that would have been kind of cool.
Stuff like that, because that's just a good idea in general, because it gives you a reason to explore, especially with FPS games, because most FPS games do not give you a reason to really explore. You just go face first to the end of the level, and that's that,
Pull the trigger, yeah.
Yeah, most FPS games there's no reason for you to explore and see the work that they put into the environments or anything like that. But if you add those little things that you don't necessarily need, but they're there and you can get some cool stuff from them, that gives people more reason to go around and actually look around. And it also gives you a way to let's say you wanted to put a super boss or something in your game, and you could, hide it somewhere where it's guarding something that people might want. There's a reason for that now, instead of just having it randomly somewhere.
Or, even better, the other way around, is have the ridiculous super boss, and it's a pain in the ass to defeat, but it's possible. Yeah. But you hide that super weapon, or the pieces parts of the super weapon, so if you're really good, you can assemble it and then just wreck his ass.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. Anything like that just gives you more reason, first off, to explore the game, because I'm big on exploration. I love it. It's just a fun part of just about any game. Anything that makes me want to explore more, I'm generally a big fan of. And that's just a fun idea, and little things in there like that, where you find these little things that you necessarily wouldn't find if you had no reason to look for it.
Right. Okay. The next thing I'd like to see more of excludes Xbox a little bit, unless they get their shit together. And was something I first came across on the Vita, of all things. Uncharted Golden Abyss had the ability to, obviously the Vita has two sticks, so it was move and aim just like a normal console type shooter, but it also had the ability to use the gyro to fine tune your aiming. and it was wonderful.
Interesting.
And I honestly don't know why, especially because through Steam, the Steam controller has a gyro. You can set up any game to have gyro aiming, and I do not know why Sony never, I don't know, say mandated, because I don't know how tight they get in with the game devs, but I don't know why they weren't pushing this feature more, because it's such a perfect complement to the kind of rough, not as precise movement of the analog stick,
Yeah.
to just be able to, tilt the controller a little bit and then you crack off a few shots, and it just feels a lot more intuitive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree because I don't know if it's necessarily the same thing because I don't have a fancy Steam controller, but I'll just put this out there. Having the ability to use the controller to aim my magic shots in Skyrim with the Switch was super fucking cool.
Oh yeah, no, that's the exact same thing. I know Switch. I didn't know Skyrim did it, but I know. I think it was Doom, the first Doom, 2016. I believe only did it if you were, aiming down sights. That's probably not correct, but something like that.
Okay.
Because obviously the Switch has motion control, so they were doing that with the Switch, and yeah, I love that feature.
Yeah.
I almost like hope that it catches on again, because the PlayStation controller specifically, Xbox doesn't have a gyro in its controller. They need to like step it up. But ever since the 6-axis controller, PlayStation controllers have had a gyro in them. Please do this. We've had 3 generations of consoles already.
We're not gonna do it, David. We're not. You gotta rely on Nintendo for that. Yeah, I've never tried an FPS with it, but I have used it to shoot people in the face with fireballs. So close enough.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I mean, I turn it on whenever if I'm just kicking back and using the controller on PC, I turn on the gyro aim, and it makes everything so much easier because you can use the pad to, flick around and point to where you want to look. And then when you pull the trigger to aim, it turns on the gyro aim, and then you can just pat, 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 pat.
Yeah,
so
give
good.
Me old boop. I like that idea a lot.
It is. It's great. I love it.
Man, I need to check that out. Actually, that sounds like a great idea. I do have another one, David.
Another one?
I do. I've got one more in my bag of tricks that I forgot.
So now
about.
is this you're picking one more, or we ranted about all the ones that were on your list during the stagger mechanics thing?
We ranted pretty much about my entire list already, but
okay, very good.
I have thought of one while we were talking that I can't believe I didn't put on my list. I not necessarily like, I want more interactable environments in video games. I want this.
Okay.
You don't see it often enough, but like, how fucking cool would it be in a first-person shooter if you had enemies standing below something that you could just shoot down and smash them to death with? Because it's a destructible environment or an interactive environment. Stuff like that. Like, we live in 2021. We could do this. Why are we not doing this? Because, like, not only is that adding an extra element of strategy to your game for, like, ammo consumption and stuff like that, it's just really fucking cool. And, like, I want to be able to do that. Or, in a game where you're a super strong dude, perhaps maybe I can just bust through this fucking wall, instead of walking around.
Yeah, actually, Bulletstorm has a lot of that. It's all, there's not, like, destructible environments per se. There's just a lot of environmental stuff to play with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. It's tons of fun. You can just, like, kick things over into enemies.
Yeah, even if it's just silly shit where, like, I can fucking kick a ball at someone's head to distract them or knock them off balance. And then shoot them in the face. Like, stuff like that's cool as fuck. Or, like, look at the gravity gun from Half-Life 2. Little physics-based interactions where you can pick stuff up off the map and shoot it at someone's face.
An absolute classic.
Yeah. And like that's from a million years ago, and we still don't really have anything like that.
It's true.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of things like that, but it was definitely one of a kind.
Yeah, it's like so underutilized. Like why can I not interact with the environment and throw shit at my enemies when it's clearly right next to me, you know? Here's a trash can. Why is that just something I can't interact with?
Or even, I mean, it's probably a little bit more common now. I remember it like PlayStation 3. There were definitely a few games that did it, but destructible cover. Just
Yeah,
like I feel
that's a
like
good
that's
idea
something
too.
you don't really see that often.
Yeah.
I mean, it pops up, but it's not like a standard game mechanic.
Yeah, anything like that though, like I feel like you just do not see that much, like in anything really. Like even just interactable environments are like so few and far between. Even just
Yeah.
basic interactions. Like I want more of that because it adds to like the fucking world itself really. Like it just adds so much to the gameplay when you can do
Yeah.
stuff like that. And like I feel like it is completely underutilized in pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean you'll get the games they'll have like physics props and whatever, and they'll react to stuff, but you can't actually do anything with it. It's just
Right.
like
It's just
set
there.
dressing. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and like how cool would it be in like, a stealth game if like, you're sneaking around and like, oh, I fucked up, but like you can quickly like, knock something over that causes like a fire so that it can cut your enemies off from you and give you time to escape. That would be sweet. I realize this is like a wee bit advanced and it'd probably take a long time to program stuff like that, but like, how cool would that be?
It would be. It would definitely be something like really fun just to play around with.
Yeah.
Because the one issue I can see with that is AI would have to get a lot better
Yeah,
to be able to react to these systems.
this is understandable, and I think we're getting there. Don't get me wrong. We probably aren't there yet, but just the basic stuff would be fine as well. I'm just head in the clouds over here thinking about all
Yeah.
the cool stuff I might be able to do one day. But I want to see more interaction with the environment and just little small details that I can do that add a little flair to the game.
Actually, you know what? I think your wishes might be answered, but we're gonna have to go into VR for me to show you some of these things.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's one thing I don't have much experience with is VR, and I feel like those games probably do have a lot more interaction with things just because they are VR.
Yeah,
So
they're VR. That's what they're built to do. Yeah, especially.
and that's probably the answer to my calls as well. Is when we get VR like fully going, I think shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, you just like, oh, can I do this? Yes, I can. Here we go.
Yeah, I've
'Cause,
seen some very
Boneworks-
interesting things in Boneworks. That's what I was about to say.
Boneworks is real good for that. Just about everything is, pick it up, throw it,
Yeah.
beat someone over the head with it. Or
So stuff like that. That's exactly what I want.
yeah, because you can both take an object and beat someone over the head with it, or take someone's head and beat it into the object. So good.
Oh man, that's exactly what we need in this world. That's exactly what we need.
More Boneworks, please.
Yes.
All right, so I believe that exhausts your list.
That does exhaust my list and my one that I thought of. Yes.
My list is done too. Even though we got a couple of cheap shots in on that stagger mechanics one. We went off on that one.
Yeah, that's a good mechanic, man. It's a good
It is.
mechanic.
It is, and apparently it just leads to a bunch of other great mechanics.
Yes,
So
it does.
more of that, please.
Yes.
But before we close up, what are you looking forward to playing? And I think we actually might have the same one.
So, two things on my list right now. First off, DreadX The Hunt.
Oh yes,
I'm very much looking forward to playing, even though I've heard it might not live up to my hopes.
I don't say that. I don't want to disparage it too hard.
Okay.
But No, actually, I don't want to disparage it too hard because the problem I have with it is like a very me problem. So
Okay, that's
you
fair
you
enough.
go ahead and raise those expectations.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see how it goes. That is probably number one on my list of things that I'm looking forward to playing. Next up's gonna be Saga Frontier Remastered. I'm gonna finally dig my teeth as hard into that one as I can on stream, and it's gonna be great.
Okay, so we did not have the same one. I thought for
There's
sure you would
there's
mention.
something else that
Oh
I
yes,
want to play that I cannot think of off the top of my head, and maybe it is the one you're about to mention.
I bet it is because the game I'm really looking forward to now is Resident Evil
Oh
Village.
yeah, duh.
Oh man, I was like, they PlayStation got the demo first, so there's been a lot of people like showing off what's in there,
Yeah.
and yep, that game's gonna be pretty hype.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. I am ready. I am
They brought
fucking
Mercenaries
ready.
back.
Yep.
Mercenaries mode's coming back. That's great.
And like
Apparently,
it's gonna be
the
open world.
yeah, it's kind of open world. It's like open hub,
Yeah, which is cool as fuck. I
which
like
is
that idea.
actually kind of how 7 was, but this is like way bigger.
Oh yeah, I guess that is fair with the house.
Yeah, you could like you could traipse back and forth between the locations, but like Village is actually like open up, and you can like pretty much go within the hub. You splinter off into the different
Yeah.
hubs because it
Yeah,
seems like
I'm
there's more than one hub because there's the village, but then the inside of the castle looks like a completely separate hub that you do
Yeah.
other things in. It looks huge.
It
I'm really
it
excited.
looks fucking amazing. And you're like, shout out to Big Vampire Lady. I'm there. I'm there for it. And her daughters. I'm there. I'm there for it.
The
I'm ready.
have you seen the new shopkeep
Oh yeah, the big old
dog?
fat dude.
Jesus, his cart opens up and he's like, I don't know how he has any stuff because he's like the only thing that fits in there. Fucking
Yeah, I
ginormous.
saw that in one of the previews. I was like, what the fuck? Oh man, it looks so fucking good. Yeah. That is exactly the game that was on my mind that I could not think of. So you were correct.
Yes, I thought for sure you'd mention it though. But
Yes.
that's all we have for you this time. We'll be back next time with another episode. Hopefully Dren X actually.
Yeah.
But we'll
probably.
see you then.
Good day.